So hello to everyone, and I hope you all are doing well and having a fantastic day. Everyone who's watching our market update. So starting from today, we are going to include commodities as a part of our market update. So without wasting any time, and let's dive in and find out the answers of our questions. So in front of us, we have the BTC USDT in 4-hour time frame. And currently, the BTC is trading at the $69,696 zone. So what are the levels of BTC which are currently active and which are the levels which are going to be active soon, and we are going to discuss all this about. So as we can see here, Bitcoin has given us a good bounce from the level which was the $65,100 zone, and currently give us a move almost about 7.5% and moving toward its first resistance zone, which will be at the 72,000 and $72,000 zone, where we have seen a drop previously. This zone. What currently I am watching is that BTC is going to respect this zone, or are we going to see a drop from above zone, which will be a liquidity grab zone around this $73,000 $500 zone to $72,500 zone, which will be act as a liquidity grab zone. As once we look at this chart, we can see that this pattern is a bearish pattern. This pattern called bear flag pattern. And once BTC start giving respect to this pattern, we are simply going to buy and sell at the lower support zone and the upper resistance zone, which is currently about to form. Let me show it properly. First, we have seen a bounce from the $72,000 zone. Most people think that $60,000 zone was the actual bounce zone, but we will consider this zone as a bounce zone because this was the liquidity grab zone, and this zone where we have a solid candles closing, it is considered as the real bounce zone. So this bounce given us a ride toward the $72,000 zone to $71,000 zone, and we have seen a drop toward the $65,000 zone. Now again, this support zone is being tested and give us a good support, and now BTC is moving toward its resistance zone. So first resistance zone, which can be seen at the $72,000 zone, and a liquidity grab zone can be seen at the $73,500 zone before BTC move toward the support zone, which will be around $66,600 zone. So till BTC is respecting the lower support zone and upper resistance zone, we will simply going to buy and sell at this zone. So till we have a breakdown from this pattern. First, we will see a liquidity sweep below this zone. Then, let me show you. Here is a pending liquidity at this zone, which will soon going to be taken down, and next level will be unlocked. It will be our HTF level, and I have discussed this level previously. Let me show you again. As we can see here, at this zone, we don't have a very good closing of weekly candles below the 74,000 or the zone which I have previously mentioned, which was the $72,500 zone. So a retest can be seen at the $72,000 zone to $74,000 zone, which was the previous order block zone, which have sent it BTC toward the all-time high at the $124,000 zone to $125,000 zone, and we have seen a drop toward the lower zone. So first resistance zone which will be $72,000 zone to $74,000 zone, and if BTC break this zone and start trading above the $75,500 zone and reclaim the $76,000 zone, then the resistance which will be next come in will be from $84,000 zone to $80,000 zone, which will be the resistance that's at the $80,000 zone to $84,000 zone, which will be our resistance of upper trend line zone. So first level will be $72,000 zone, and once we break down from the bear flag pattern, we can easily see BTC at the zone, which will be our first HTF buying zone, will be from $53,000 zone to $48,000 zone. Once BTC gave us a clear bounce from the lower trend line which I have drawn, as you can see, we have seen a pump from this zone toward the zone. Now what we need to see is, is BTC going to respect this zone? If BTC respect this zone and goes up toward the resistance zone at the $70,000 zone, then we have a clear picture that where BTC and where we are going to sit. So once BTC give us a clear direction, we have a support and we have a resistance trend line, then we can clearly say that BTC in longer term can drop toward below $40,000 zone, and after this we can have a pretty big move toward the upside, which can lead us toward the $150,000 zone to what $2 lakh zone. So let us move back toward the lower time frame. So currently we have a FEG gap at this zone for BTC, which will be $67,200 zone to almost $66,600 zone, and also this zone will be act as our support zone from the lower support trend line zone, and we can ride toward the upper zone if we get a chance. I will not going to buy at this zone. I will simply going to, if BTC doesn't go back toward the lower zone at $66,000, I will not going to ride at the zone. I will simply going to then short at the $72,000 zone to $74,000 zone to ride toward the $67,000 zone, which will be first level of interest. Why? Because we can see a bounce from this zone, but once this level is breakdown, simply we are going to see lower support zone, and first level which will be active will be $60,000 zone, and a liquidity grab can be seen at the $58,000 zone, and afterward our HTF first level of interest will be in, which will be from $53,000 zone to $48,000 zone. So I hope that everything must be clear for BTC. Let's move toward the Ethereum USDT. You can see what ETH have to say to us. Currently, as we can see, Ethereum is exactly following what BTC is representing and giving. So there will be a similar pattern which Ethereum is forming. So here we can see it's a clear bear flag pattern for the Ethereum USDT and a liquidity grab zone, similarly as we have seen at the BTC. So first level of interest for the resistance zone for Ethereum will be unlocked at the $2,140 zone to $2,060 zone, and the liquidity grab zone will be at the $2,200 zone. Let me draw it properly. So, liquidity grab zone will be at this zone. From $2,170 zone to $2,180 zone, which will be a liquidity grab zone for the Ethereum USDT. So this will be the current support and resistance for the Ethereum USDT, and ETH will going to follow the BTC. So here we have the FVG gap sitting at this zone, and we can see a ride. We can take a ride from the lower support zone, which will be $1,940 zone to $1,980 zone, to ride toward the upper zone at the $2,170 zone to $2,200 zone for ETH USDT. Until ETH is going to respect the upper zone and lower zone and keep rejecting and keep bouncing from this zone, we will going to make trade on these zones, and till we have a proper breakdown or breakout, we will follow the pattern and follow the support and resistance trend line zone. So let's move toward the commodities, and first I'm going to discuss silver USDT. As we can see here in front of us, we have the silver USD, and currently silver is trading at the $77.35 zone. So are we sitting in a bullish phase, or are we going in a bearish phase for silver USDT? Most people prefer commodities over BTC and Ethereum. That's why I have included silver, and I have included the commodities as a part of our market updates. So let's find out what we have and what silver is going to tell us. So as we can see, currently silver is respecting this pattern. I will tell the name of this pattern, but first I will tell you to look at what we have now. So first we have seen a drop toward the $71 zone and a bounce toward the $91 zone, and we have seen a big sell from this zone almost toward the $63 zone, sorry for that. And again we have seen a bounce toward the upper zone at the $86.7 zone, and currently it's dropping toward the lower support zone, which will be around $70 zone. So what are we going to have at this level? So first, as we can see here, we are currently sitting in a head and shoulder pattern, but I will not consider this as a very strong pattern for current market. And for an instant, I will tell you to just forget this wick and move it toward here. And now the current pattern which we are having is a bearish pattern, and this pattern is called the bearish pennant pattern. As I have told you previously, just forget about this wick and look at the chart. So here we have a proper bearish pennant pattern. Here you can see here. So what we have to watch for the silver USD is the breakout and the breakdown till the support levels of upper trend line and the lower trend lines are active. Simply we are going to buy at these zones and sell at this zone. So this is a bearish pattern for silver USD, and I am not considering this as a bullish pattern. Most people thinking that this going to be a bullish pattern until we have a good closing above this zone, which will be the liquidity sweep of this level, which was the previous selling point for the silver USD. So once we clear this zone, then the path toward the upper zone will be very easy for us to ride toward the previous all-time high zone. But till we are trading in this pattern, I will consider this as a bearish pattern, and for me the level which will be active once we break down from this zone will be around at the 52 zone to $45 zone, which will be the first level of interest for me for silver USD. So I hope you have a clear idea what silver USD is representing us and giving us. So moving toward the next commodity, which will be gold. Let us see what gold has for us. So currently, as we can see here, gold is currently in lower time frame, which will be our 4-hour time frame, is currently trading in the wedge continuation pattern, and it is a bearish pattern. So we have seen a drop from the its all-time high, which was around the $5,500 zone to $5,600 zone, and a sudden drop of almost 20 to 21% drop at the $4,400 zone. So what are the active levels for gold? As we can see here, currently gold is respecting the upper trend line and lower trend line very good, and we have seen a bounce from this zone, which was around the $4,400 zone to $4,400 to $4,480 zone, and we have seen a pump toward the $5,090 zone, and have seen a good rejection at this zone from almost $4,660 zone, and again we are seeing gold to going above at the resistance zone, and the resistance zone which will be active for us will be 5,500 and 500 and $5,100 zone, and a liquidity grab zone can be seen at the 51 $5,170 zone to $5,150 zone before we get a big drop from this zone. The first level after we have a good short entry from this zone, which will be this zone. Once we look at the STF levels for the gold USDT, we can see, let me show you here. So previously, as we can see here, on the HTF level for the gold USDT, we have seen previously when it was trading at the $435 zone, it dropped toward the $239 zone, and it gave us a rally almost toward the $1,700 zone and respected the upper trend line and gave us a drop toward the lower zone at the $1,200 zone and accumulated quite a bit at this zone. And now at the 20 in 2021 to 2022, gold have given us a breakout from its previous resistance zone, which was holding very good, which was at the $2,000 zone to 2000 and to $19,000 zone, $1,900 zone. So this was previously acting as a very good resistance for Ethereum every time for gold, and every time gold traded at this zone, we have seen a drop toward the lower zone, which was a drop of almost 17% to 18%, and this was this scenario for every time we have seen. So at the 2021 to 2022, we have seen a breakout from this zone, and once we have seen a breakout from this zone, gold has only given us a rally toward the upper zone, and it's currently almost up like 140% from the its zone of breakout at the 2021 to 2022 $2022. So currently what we have to look at this zone is, are we going to see once in the lower time frame we have seen a drop from this zone, we can easily see it trading below the lower support zone, and I will personally, if I'm going to buy, I will buy at the lower support zone, which will be this trendline zone. Whenever I will see at this lower trendline support zone, I don't know what will be the level. It could be at the $3,000 zone or $3,400 zone, but the main thing is that I will buy at this support zone or the trend line support zone, which will be the confirmation as we have seen previously. First confirmation was here, and second confirmation was here and here, and so we can see a good buying opportunity at this zone from $3,000 zone to $3,400 zone, which will be the drop zone. So this was the STF update. Let us again move toward this our lower time frame update. So currently I'm going to watch and look at the upper trend line resistance zones. Once I will see it trading at the previous level of sell, which will be from 500 $5,100 zone to $5,120 zone. I will add a quantity at this zone, and I will wait for a liquidity sweep toward the upper zone from 500 and $5,150 zone to $5,180 zone to add quantity at this zone and ride it back toward the lower zone. And first level of interest which will be active for me will be $4,400 zone to $4,300 zone, which was its previous wick zone and the drop zone. So, and a liquidity grab zone can be seen at this zone at the 4200 and $4,200 zone to $4,250 zone, because most people having a liquidity and their short liquidations, their long liquidation at this zone of area. So we can have a pretty good buy at this zone to ride it toward the upper zone again. So let's move toward the our altcoins, and for altcoins we will only look at the one chart, and this chart will be total 2. Similarly, as I have told you that currently all market is following what BTC is doing, so our total crypto market is also following the same pattern. As we can see here, we are in a bearish pattern, and this pattern is, I have mentioned this many times, and this pattern is obviously the bear flag pattern. So you know the answers. Every time we're going to see at this zone, we're going to sell, and we are going to buy at this zone till we have a proper breakdown to right toward the lower support zone. So move, I will move toward the HTF level, and we will discuss what are we having at the HTF level. So as you can see here at the HTF level, I have previously was doing analysis on this, and so let me show you something. So, at this level, which is from $1.7 trillion zone to $853 billion zone, currently this zone is acting as the support zone and also acting as the neckline zone. Neckline zone for what? For the double top pattern. Let me draw it for you. So this will be the double top pattern for so this will be double top pattern for the total crypto, including the Ethereum USDT. So as we can see here at this level, previously we have seen a sell from the $1.68 trillion zone, and currently we have seen a sell from $1.77 trillion zone, which was the level of our upper trend line resistance zone. So what are the possibilities that are we going to see a rally in altcoins, or are we going to see a bloodbath in altcoins? So the answer is very simple, and to watch the levels. So first level for altcoins which will be active will be this level, which will be around 901 trillion dollar zone to $995 billion zone, which will be currently act as a resistance zone for us for the altcoins. and a drop from this zone toward the lower support zone. And once we have seen a candles closing below this zone in weekly time frame, let me clear it again. Once we see a candles close below this zone of 857 billion dollar zone to 770 billion dollar zone, so this will consider as a breakdown, and first level which will be active for us will be the previous candle low, which was around the 725 billion dollar zone to right toward the 900 billion dollar zone. And once we see a candle close below this zone, then we will prepare us for a lower zone, and first zone which will be active for us will be 670 billion dollar zone to 650 billion dollar zone for total crypto cap. So this zone is the most important zone for altcoins and to watch. And after we have seen a good reaction from the 850 billion dollar zone, and it is start trading above the zone of 1.1 trillion dollar zone, then this zone will be considered as a good sign, and we can see a right toward above the 1.2 trillion dollar zone to 1.3 trillion dollar zone, which will act as a resistance zone for our HTF level. So what we have to watch and keep in our mind that once we break down from this zone, this will be a chaos or bloodbath for the entire altcoins market, including our Ethereum USDT. And the first level of interest for me, which will be unlocked, will be 650 billion dollar zone, and after it give us a rally toward the upper zone, we can see it drop toward the below zone. So always trade in levels. Do not get in FOMO, and do not get in fear of losing something. Or every time you trade, you have to know which levels are active for the any coin or any commodity you are trading. You have to first know whether it's at its resistance zone or are its support zone. So once you know that currently it's at the middle zone and at a neutral zone, for example, if I say, if I pick BTC USDT, for example, yes, this is a perfect example. So first thing, before you dive into long or short or buy or sell, first we have to know either the BTC, either the coin you are trading is sitting at the resistance zone or are is sitting at the support zone. If you don't know the basics, you don't know, you will not going to make any profits. Even if Satoshi himself come in and tell you that these zones are active and buy and sell, and you have get in FOMO and buy at the $70,000 zone, current zone, and it and put a stop loss at the $67,000 zone, and you see a drop toward this zone, and your stop loss will be hunted down, and again it again trading toward the 74,000, and you will say that I must have to wait and follow the rules. So the first rule and the basic rule is to always follow the support and resistance zone. Never ever buy at the middle zone or the neutral zone. So currently this zone is considered as the neutral zone, and we will wait Either BTC give us a $74,000 to $72,000 zone, which will be act as our resistance zone, and we will plan a short entry from this zone, or either we have a support zone from the $66,000 zone to $67,000 zone, which will be act as our support zone. And if we plan any entry at this zone and put a stop loss at, if we plan a short entry at this zone and put a stop loss at this level, we are simply going to lose lots of money, because we are doing the wrong thing and neglecting the basic things for trading. So let us again move toward the total crypto cap. So on the HTF level, currently the level which is active for us for the total crypto cap, which will be the 900, first level of interest will be $977 billion zone to $990 billion zone, with $990 billion will act as a liquidity sweep zone at this zone, and we can plan our short entries for altcoins at this zone. So for BTC and for Ethereum and for the crypto altcoins market and for the commodities, we just have to follow what current levels are telling us. We have to follow the support zones, we have to follow the resistance zone, and we don't have to FOMO and buy at the middle zone. So markets are not going anywhere. Markets are going to be here with us long, and we are going to make plenty of money. So the thing is, the most important thing is to know which levels we have to ride and which levels we have to sell, and which levels we have to watch. Until a person doesn't know which levels are active and which are levels are not active and which levels are going to be active soon, so this person going to lose everything. So first, what we have to do is to mark the support zones, mark the resistance zone, and watch the levels, buy at the support zone and sell at the resistance zone. Simple. This is the most simplest way of trading anyone can do. So I hope that current video update is very helpful, and thank you for watching.